crosses represent everyone, people that died in the homeless community last year. My community dies because of the budget cuts. There's 31 that was last year that were counted. We just don't want it to happen again. Probably with the way the population is growing, there's going to be more people dying. It's uncalled for. So we're going to represent, and we're going to show the legislators. You cut the budget, you signed it, you're killing people. Because of their poor? No, that's wrong. So we're going to do our protest, and we're just going to be silent about it. Sometimes saying nothing is better than saying a lot of things. So the crosses are very symbolic. Hopefully the legislator, the governor, stands up and says, hey, there is a problem. Let's address it. Address it now. Let's not wait until next year, the year after. Let's do it now. Yeah. All the students will be meeting us at the State House. It's still early. We'll leave in a little while, and we'll go tell the state of Rhode Island that we're here. We're not going away. Fix it. That's what it's all about.
God is so awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
That God doesn't even look at our circumstances or our situation, but only that we are loved. God doesn't look at the fact that you're homeless or that if you're a millionaire.
Yes.
But just cares about the fact that you are loved.
Yes.
So that love we carry today, God. That love we carry throughout the street so that others will see, so that there will be justice in the world.
Yes.
God, I ask you today that we don't act like anything but your representatives.
Yes.
That we are radical only in our love for one another. That as we meet with legislators and people at the State House today, God, that favor will be found. And that, God, that we will respond in such a way that they will see humanity in each one of us. The pain that we are feeling, whether we have a place to live or we do not. Whether we have a home to live or not, whether we live in a tent or not. God, we just want to represent the love that you represent. So God, on this week, we don't march into Zion carrying palms with crosses.
Stop them now! Stop eviction, stop them now!
Stop eviction, stop them now!
Bail the tenants, not the banks!
Bail the tenants, not the banks!
Bail homeowners, not the banks!
Bail homeowners, not the banks! The mighty, mighty people, fighting for justice and for liberation. Stop foreclosure, stop them now. Help the tenants, not the banks. Stop eviction, stop them now. Help homeowners, help them now.
Thanksgiving morning, I had a Providence police officer come up to me, and why is this police officer coming up to me? He said, John, I got to talk to you. I said, okay, Tony. And he says, you got to go identify a body. Thanksgiving morning. What do you mean, identify a body? It's someone you've been working with. So that was my Thanksgiving started. identifying a friend and someone I tried to help.
Over in the corner over there, a guy named Paul died over there. And that was the last person who died last winter. And that was when we decided, you know what, we got to do something so people stop dying out here alone. I mean, there was 31 people who died last year out here in the streets. They found them, medical examiner came, and they, from an officer friend of ours, he told us he was stiff as a board when they found him, frozen solid. It's just not, I mean, there's no reason somebody should have to die like that. I understand that he was, he had problems. He had mental issues and he had an alcohol problem. He was barred from all the shelters, plus Crossroads. He had no trespassing trash on Crossroads. He had to get out of the hospital the morning that he died. And it was like 2 a.m. he got out and he had nowhere to go. So he came to the bridge and he just fell asleep and didn't wake up.
Not only was I sad, I was pissed that how can a society or the system the way it is just throw someone out to the streets and have them die when it's that cold outside. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that. Where's their compassion? Where's their grace? Where's their humanity?
I've been homeless for a few years, so this is different because I always slept basically outside. We didn't have roofs, so a tent makes a big difference, especially in the wintertime. It's different for me because I don't collect checks. I don't qualify for checks, nor do I try to get checks. I have to work for my money. I wouldn't be out here if the service providers did help more. I needed 6 ripticks. I worked 2 jobs. I worked up in Middletown at the Shores, and I worked up in Twin Rivers at a Dunkin' Donuts while I slept outside. And I had 2 jobs, and I needed 6 more ripticks to get to my first paycheck. When I went to Crossroads and asked for them, they said, women don't get ripticks. Knowing they were for a job. They weren't to get to a shelter, to a meal kitchen, to a doctor. They knew exactly what it was. They've known me for years. And they just couldn't give me them.
I'm barred from the shelter. It started off with one day I get up, I bring my backpacks in and I put it on the back, next to my bed. I went to the bathroom, I came out, someone was going through my stuff. So I proceeded to get mad and I started yelling and everything. The staff came down and gave me a warning and said, listen, you can't be yelling, screaming like that, you have to come tell us. And I was like, well, you're not gonna do nothing about it anyway, so I let it go. A couple of weeks later, a church group came in to bring cases of soda to everybody that was staying there. And I watched them put all the soda into the back room, and we went up and they asked me, said, well, can we have that soda? And they said, no, you can have water. They were handing us water instead. And so I said, all right, forget it. I went and laid down and I watched them carry the cases of soda out the door and put it in the trunk of their car, the staff members. So I questioned them about it. I said, what are you doing? That stuff's rough. I can't say the guy's name, but the head supervisor of this particular shelter came over and said, you should mind your business. And I started questioning him, and he said, as a matter of fact, don't ever come back here. And I haven't been back since.
It's not something you just pop up. I've been out here on the streets for almost 3 years. I started advocating, and I seen what the population growing, budgets being cut. Last June, when the governor cut the budget, he cut what was called the Neighborhood Opportunity Program. It was only $7.5 million in, and he cut $5 million, only left $2.5. I knew the population was growing over last summer. The shelters were at capacity or over capacity. And when he signed that budget, right away I said, we're going to have a problem when wintertime comes. So I started looking at tents last June, right when he signed the budget. And when it started getting cold, I would do outreach out in Providence, myself and my partner, and we would just see people sleeping all over the city. We were still thinking about the tents. How can we get people together where they're going to be safe? And I went to my partner, I think it's time. Enough's enough. We go out the outreach, We make sure people are safe. It'd be better off if we have everyone in one spot. That way everyone can watch their backs, and maybe we can get the... You're a lot warmer in a tent. It's not a permanent structure, but it blocks the wind. You get enough blankets on you. So January 24th, we decided, okay, enough's enough. And we set tents up. When we first set this up, this was the only tent we had up. We had 8 people in there the first night. It was cold. Of course, we've been here over 3 months. Homeless community gets very resourceful. I didn't think we'd be here that long. I got a little comfortable. I got a bedroll, blankets came in. I got pillows. Someone brought bookshelves, and this is like my little office area. It's also got my cosmetics. I keep little snacks here. I got a radio that you can crank because weather's important. You got to make sure the weather. You got to know what the weather's going to be like. But this is also like the meeting. I do a lot of meetings in here. Like before, when we were doing a lot of action, a lot of advocacy, our best meetings were always in church parking lots, alleyways, in the streets, and now we do it in the tent. I got my prayer blanket, my clothes, radio. I like candles to keep lights if I don't have batteries for the lantern. But a lot of things happen in here. A lot of good things came out of this tent. A lot of good meetings, a lot of positive things. You might think it's cozy, but it really is not. I'm still outside. It's still not structured 4 walls. See, it's not the same. But my community will get there someday.
Most of us here slept outside, and we got tired of people dying out here alone. So we decided to come together into one place where we could keep an eye on each other. It's just like your family. We hate each other and we love each other. But we always help each other. And we never turn anybody else away. It's when it comes to food or clothes or anything like that. Anybody can come here to get food and clothes. We all have the same. We all want to help everybody else. I mean, we don't want people to think that this is a shelter, though. You can't just come here and say, oh, I'm going to sleep here tonight, because you choose to, you want to stay out of the shelter for the night, you know? No, that's not what this is not just some flop house where kids can come hang around.
I've been homeless on and off. Well, I worked at Mattnon High School in Cambridge, lived in Somerville on Broadway, in Herrera Studios. I've been homeless now for about 3 months, 4 months. Before then, I was on the road with the Carnival Fiesta shows. Before that, I was living homeless down in Miami, all over Florida. I kept traveling, looking for work. It's really hard to find work, you know, especially for somebody like me. I don't have any type of, you know, degrees or anything. I've been a carny almost all my life, you know, running with the Carnival. I've had good jobs. I worked at Packaging Graphics in Pawtucket. I used to work at Blake's Tavern here 10 years ago. You know, I had a few good jobs. You know, I mean, I know how to do die setting. I mean, I know roofing, framing, siding, plumbing, carpet, drywall, you know, etc. I can build you a damn house, guaranteed. But, you know, even when Connie's not bad, you know what I'm saying, you must be in the union to get a fucking decent job. Basically, I was paying to live in a place. I lost everything that I owned because we had a $1 trillion bailout, and my boss said, "I'm sorry, guys, we can't afford to keep everybody, so they let 12 of us go." When they let 12 of us go, 10 days later, the constable shows up. 15 days after that, we was in the shelter fucking overflow shut down, so I ended up being stuck out on the streets. So I panhandled up enough money and brought my ass to Rhode Island. I figured if I'm going to be fucking homeless, I might as well do it somewhere beautiful.
Because there is hope. And there's also another message that says it on the Rhode Island flag underneath that anchor. It says hope. Where is it? It's Hope City. Hopefully that we can get housing. Hopefully John Q. Public sees us. Hopefully my community's voices are heard for a change. Instead of listening to service providers, hopefully they'll listen to the community. That's why it's called Hope.
It's decent. I mean, it's not like anywhere else or whatever. People accept you for you, and that's how it should be. Not for nothing more, nothing less, just for you. That's how it is here. Because you ain't got to worry about people talking. You don't got to worry about drunk people. Because it's simple. At the rescue mission or any other shelter, it's like they got drama. Here ain't that much drama.
I'm the treasurer. I'm responsible for all donations that come into Hope City. But for the most part, the things that mostly I donated is dry food, soups in a can, which is easy for the community to cook out here. Our water always stays outside of the food tent. We have cases and cases of water. Peanut butter and jelly, we get tons of because it's easy to make. It holds for a long time. Crackers, stuff like that. Sometimes, like about three times a week, somebody from the community will cook for everybody, whether it's spaghetti, soup, whatever it is. But for the most part, everybody cooks their own food.
I cook once in a while. I go out and cook a soup or pasta or something like that for everybody.
People come in back here at all different times of the day and night. So as they come in, we tell them, you know, there's this over there, and they go and get it. I mean, if people drop off hamburger, common sense, that has to be cooked right away. So one of us will make up the hamburgers or whatever, cook it, and just leave them in the grill for whoever comes in afterwards.
Because he's taking a day off. I want a day off.
I'm bringing my escape pod too.
Friday.
I told him.
We tell all the kids, hey, the shelter's closed. 6 a.m. You gotta get up.
He likes that idea, though.
I'll be already gone.
But he likes that idea. Because he said he agrees. They
The
just
kids
don't.
here have
Lesson
no
learned.
idea what it's like to be homeless.
Lesson learned.
They have no idea what it's like
They're
to
gonna.
really be homeless.
Don't
They're
wait
gonna,
in line
'cause
for food.
Shelter is closed at 6 o'clock. And they're gonna eat whatever fucking crappy ass sandwiches they get from Round Top. And they're gonna like it.
Oh, I got crappy ass sandwiches here, but I love them.
That's not my point. You know how many are gonna bitch because it's rye bread and pumpernickel bread and
Oh, bread with seeds in it. Oh,
yeah.
that'll freak them out.
Yeah. What? Every time I go to fucking do something, every freaking time.
Doesn't involve drama. Oh, not that, Chris. Bunch of champions.
Yeah, because I was just cutting across. What a joke. This is where Tent City is. I don't tell people where it is. But you know what? They don't let you freeze or get drunk or nothing like that. You can't drink on the property. But if you're bombed, they lay you down in a tent. And you know what? I ain't gonna say the names of the people, though. I learned that, but I live outside, right? And you know what? They gave me a tent. Gave me a tent with blankets on it.
Yeah, yours big muff.
The horses.
Voices.
Come on, let's go for a walk. Come on, let's go for a walk. Come on.
No.
Yes.
I want to.
Chris, you need
We
to
can
go to
pick up
bed,
the whole
sweetie.
chair rolling. No.
You need to go to sleep,
walk.
honey. You really
on.
do, Chris. Come on.
Come on, I got something to show you. I got you. You're not going nowhere. Throw the bread away. You don't need that bread.
I don't. The wind's gone.
Worry about the wind.
Tunnel.
Yeah, I know the wind. It was bad last night. Yeah. Had nothing to do with you guys rolling around in there. Watch, I got another tent for you. A brand new one. Brand new. Watch your step. Walk around the hole.
I know where. Here.
Look at this. Look at this. Check this out. Look. Look at that. Look at that. You can fall right in there. Hey, go ahead. I got you. You're not gonna fall. I got you. Oh. I got you. I got you. You're not gonna fall. Go ahead. Well, no, lean on it.
I give you a pack of cigarettes.
No, I don't need no cigarettes. I'm good.
Yeah, but I don't
You're gonna
want-
fall if you do that. We'll get you up in a couple of hours. All right. Lay on the pillows. Cover up. All right.
I wet the cloth first before I get the, because then it gets the hair and the shaving cream in it, And this is a clean face cloth. I did, I do laundry, when I can. Laundry mat's right down the street. Hat back on here. All right, here we go. A little travel shaving cream. Won't need too much. That's another thing out here. You learn not to really waste stuff, At home, I would take for granted, Excuse me. All right, a little rinsing there. And then we go to town. There's not really much. I shaved yesterday, but I did not that good of a job. This was a whole big giant mirror that blew over in the wind, and we kept a piece. It turned out to end up just kind of being adopted for the shaving mirror,
So it's still important to keep up your appearance.
I like to, because if it's, I notice myself, if I let myself go, I'm in my own head, I'm getting depressed, the situation, and I'll sink. So I try to keep like I would under a normal situation. You know what I mean? You don't want to get, I can tell by people's behaviors. Like they start making their bed, or they'll start, who cares if it's a mess? Who cares if I don't shave? It's just a sinking feeling. I don't want to be like that. I gotta have a positive, this future, forget the past, and I gotta, so yeah, so if God knows if I have to go to an interview of some sort, I definitely don't want to walk in looking like, look with a cat dragged in. And I'm getting a couple of my things off my record from my past when I was a kid expunged. They're already in the process. Even the clerk said it's a guarantee because they're 23 years old. So I'll get that off my record, and I'll have a much better shot at getting employment. I don't want to consider myself unemployable. I'm able-bodied. I want to be employed. And then my next move would be a room of some sort, maybe a boarding room, and then me and my girl, because she's a CNA, put our money and finances together and get an apartment together. That's the goal. And she's got an 11 and a 5-year-old, but we'll be okay. I have every ingredient. I have the world's greatest girlfriend. I know, and that's true. 2 beautiful kids of her own. I have my own kid, 3 years old, who's not my possession right now, obviously, because I can't financially take care of her. And I want to pull the family together. I want a family. These are my extended family right here. I want a family. And I want to see these guys move forward, and I want to be able to say, hey, you guys need to come over, come on over. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, vice versa. I would hope someone would do that for the same for me, which has been done. People have moved forward and let me come over, take a shower, you know. We trust, there's a trust factor. Some of us are tighter than others. We know each other a long time. These people are my family. It's as simple as that. And that's not, I'm not greasing the chain. That's the truth. We argue, sometimes we bicker. That's what the families do. But I don't go to sleep with it. I don't take it to, you know what I'm saying? I don't bring it, I have no regrets. If it wasn't for this place, when Roland found me, I was under a tree. Like, he's like, Kevin, what the hell are you doing? You know, I was like, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm doing. Well, he said, well, then you're coming with me. He basically saved my ass from rotting in the street, because I probably could have, I more than likely, I was trying to drink myself to death. So, not being around people in my own head by myself, drinking every day constantly, not a good thing. So, the place was, if it wasn't for here, that really, I'd be basically, I would be screwed. That's why I'm nervous. I'm way past nervous about this place being shut down. Way past that.
You on top of me? I'll be nice. Got a camera. No foul language.
I had a baby. She laughs at me. I get on the bus and the baby's sound asleep and she goes, she looks right at me and goes, takes the baby out and says, here, because I know you're going to ask. My addiction, the drug addiction I had. I started off doing pills years ago, didn't know I was an addict. They were prescribed by a doctor, and I took them for 15 years because I was a caretaker of my father, which had no legs. He was an amputee, so I was on a lot of painkillers due to lifting him. I did back damage to my back. And then at the time I was taking care of my father, I lived in a very abusive relationship of 15 years. And every day that man came home from work and brutally beat me and my children. And so I got hooked on tranquilizers, the benzos and the painkillers. And when my dad died, I didn't have the free, I couldn't freely get into his meds when I ran out because he was on the same meds. He had an open prescription. And I got really sick and couldn't figure out why. And that went on for about a year, and I tried to commit suicide on my father's first anniversary of his death. When I did, I got taken to Butler Hospital. While I was there, I was having seizures. And they couldn't figure out why because I said I didn't do drugs. They kept asking me, are you on drugs? And at the time, I was younger. I kept saying, drugs? I don't do drugs. I'm thinking cocaine, pot, you know, all the street drugs. I said, no, I don't take that stuff. But then after the seizures kept going on, they said to me, are you on any prescription meds? And when I told them, they said, you could die. Because I had been on them for so many years that I was hooked real bad. So I detoxed off of them, and I stayed off of them, and got introduced to cocaine after that, and started using occasionally, and eventually it became an everyday problem to the point that when my last child left home, I was bored. I didn't have no life anymore. My parents were dead, the kids were gone, and I hit the streets. Couldn't afford to buy my drugs, so I prostituted. I haven't been arrested for that since 2003. Since 2003 to now, it's been a big struggle trying to get my life together, because now I'm institutionalized from being in and out of jail and out of programs, so it's hard for me to stay in a shelter. It's very hard. Most of the time I'm clean, but I still struggle. I'm a chronic relapse. I mean, I'll make it a month, 2 months, 3 months, and if something stressful hits me, just everyday life is stress for me. I have severe PTSD and severe anxiety. I go out and self-medicate. I make my own choices, and if I choose to pick up, it's because I choose to get high. It's up to me to walk away from it and say no. Some days I don't have the strength. Some days I do. Right now I pray for patience and wisdom every day and strength. And so far I've been getting it and having it. So.
They chose to sleep outside because the weather was getting warmer. And they're not barter banned from a shelter, so we wouldn't let them stay over here, so they decided to set tents up across the way over here. One of the couples that's over there was staying here. In fact, the gentleman was the secretary, part of our board here, but they got caught stealing from another young lady. They admitted to it, and we asked them to leave, and they decided to go over here and stay with the people over here.
We asked to go over there. We didn't physically go over there, but we were told we weren't homeless enough. So I said, you know, do you want to elaborate on that? How can you be any less homeless or more homeless than this? And they said, well, you can go places. You can go to a shelter. Well, about 90% of the people over there can go to a shelter. But I guess they were grandfathered in, you know, back in January. But also they pick and choose who they want to go over there. And they've denied a lot of people over there. People they've denied have actually come over here.
And all we was looking for was somewhere we could set up and live without being bothered by the police, by other people. And this fit the bill. There's no houses around, there's no businesses we impact, and it's unused land. And it's grown. I mean, we got like 45 people here now, but we all started down in the corner there. And then as we got more people, we had to spread out and move out. And our basic philosophy is we're a community, we're family, you know, and one rule is respect. It's the only rule we really adhere to. You respect yourself, respect others, respect people's space. You know, every now and then we get rumors it's going down next week, and again, I think that's just a matter of trying to scare us out of here. But when they come with the papers and the bulldozers, then we'll know they're tearing it down. Till then, we live day to day, you know. We have a lot of young people here. We're trying to get them to look beyond tomorrow. But basically, we live day to day here. You know, you never know what's going to happen. We had one fella had a heart attack the other day. Brought him to the hospital. He's okay now. In fact, he came back today, but it's... And we joke we got prime waterfront location on the east side. I mean, what's better than that?
I finished my last anger management class. So, like, that's why I'm happy tonight. Because I've been on probation since I was 13. Still got my sober house. I passed my drug test. I did everything I was supposed to do to stay there. Imagine that. But they told me how to pass my drug test. They said, if you do this, 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 and this, we'll let you stay. So I did everything they told me to do. I went to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting for pot. I felt like a retard. Everybody's there like, hey, I'm addicted to meth, I'm addicted to crack, I'm addicted to heroin. And I was like, yeah, my name's Mike, I'm a pothead. I felt like a douchebag, but I still went. So like, I'm doing everything to keep my apartment that I can, but at the same time, like, I know it looks retarded that I'm gonna fall back on a tent city, but that's like my backup plan. If I get kicked out of my house, I get a tent city. But it's more of a family because I grew up in DCYF, so I didn't really chill with my parents until I was like 18. Barbara bitches at me just like a mother would, and Roland's just like an immature father that you would have. It's kind of like my family. So like if you fuck with my family, it gets to me. They treat me better than my own family does.
See, everybody thinks homeless people like are like this. I want to be like this. If you really, am I stone cold insane that I want to live under a bridge? I'd have to be. This is the best I can do with a situation that I got handed, that unfolded on me. So this is it. This place, if they could adopt how we run this place and use the same rules and regulations in the way we run here in shelters, they wouldn't have all this problem with all these people running around on the street. They'd have it organized. They'd have these places to go where people could be a little more happier. Miserable people do miserable things. It doesn't take much to make an adjustment, and it doesn't cost millions of dollars. We don't run on millions of dollars. You know what I mean? We don't. What do we have? What do we have? We have the basic necessities. And every once in a while we get a blessing with a lasagna from a gracious person from a church. Some people work. Some people have moved on, got married. this place has got more things happening good for the community than every shelter in the entire area put together. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. They have to come up with, I keep saying they, whoever they are, needs to make an adjustment, make somewhere where we can go, you know? That could happen to anybody. What if the governor, all right, you're out, you're done, you got nothing, see you later. I bet you things would change real quick then, huh? See, someone either has to die, right? Or it has to happen to a bigwig. Something terrible has to happen with a situation, right? That's how MAD started, with the drunk drivers. All right, see, somebody had to die before they realized, hey, we really got to straighten out and stricken these rules. But why let it get to that point? Why not adjust it before it gets to such critical mass? But that's with anything, you know? So it has to hit home to somewhere. Whoa, it happened to Joe Schmo, who's important, you know? Now all of a sudden everybody comes up with these magical solutions. Well, open the magic bag now before something dumb happens.
We were all in our tent sleeping. Chris had showed up here, yelling he was drunk, he needed a place to go to sleep. So I came out of my tent. If he wouldn't have showed up, I would have been sleeping.
I had gone down to the porch, and I came back. I asked Roland if he put Chris to bed. He said, yeah, he did. We heard a bunch of yelling. Then Pete, Mike, and DJ came out of their tent.
I was awake then. We went back into our tent, and we began to hear a bunch of noise in the back parking lot back here. And I came out to check it all out. I looked, Mike and a couple of other guys were standing down that end on the hill looking to see who it was. Me and Barbara were standing up here. I seen it was these two individuals, and I just blew them off and said, they're just drunk, whatever. And I came back down the hill. But when I got down to the bottom, it got louder, and it just seemed different.
And they were just saying, say whatever. They were just yelling, And then Roland's like, who's that? Who's that? We thought it was Charles from across the way.
They were standing way over there, looking over. So they walked right up to Roland.
Until that he got so we started walking down the hill, and he said, oh shit, it's Scott. We came back up the hill, and then Roland started yelling at Scott, what the fuck's your problem, why are you yelling? And all of a sudden Scott just took a knife out and just started stabbing him.
He tried to stick it in my neck. Just natural, it ain't like I was Superman or anything. The reflex, I just hit it. It went in here, in my shoulder, and came all the way through this flesh, all the way down to the top of my lung.
Yeah, he got stabbed in the neck. Because it was swinging like this, they weren't even giving anybody a chance to, get at them because they were swinging, fiercely. And then they got him right on the, right below the shoulder, near the neck and the head, right here. Because he pushed the knife away. If he didn't push that knife away, it would have got his neck and he would have died.
I thought he had stabbed Roland in the neck because from standing down here, you couldn't see Roland's back was to me. So I couldn't see that Roland actually hit the knife. I knew he hit him. I just didn't know that he hit the knife. So when Roland, I guess, had hit the knife, that's when it came from his neck into his shoulder. But as far as I was concerned, I was yelling at everybody that Roland was stabbed in the throat because that's the way it looked like from behind.
Roland ran down the hill, ran around to us and said, I just got stabbed in the neck, I just got stabbed in the neck. So we all dispersed and we all got weapons. I went for the shovel, Pete went for a lead pipe, and DJ went for a 2x4.
And I ran all the way over here to under this bridge into the middle of the street. I got to the middle of the street over here. I ripped my shirt off and I started feeling all this blood. I took my shirt off and it just started spewing up like a volcano. And I'm sitting there, it passed out in the middle of the street now because now the blood's just pouring everywhere. And I said, the motherfucker stabbed me, right? And then I just looked and I seen them coming. So I got up again and because I didn't want to get stabbed again. And somehow Mike and Barbara and all them, they got their attention to get them away from me. But I wasn't paying attention to that. I was just paying attention, I got to save myself.
The one that stabbed Roland sat there and looked at me. He don't like me, I don't like him. He knows that quite well. So the other kid was like his little puppy dog. He's his little puppy dog. He didn't know. He was actually going back after Roland because he seen Roland fall in the street.
I ran over to the water just to get away from him. I was on the side, on the edge of the water slopes down like this on the rocks. I'm sitting on the edge near a bush, just sitting there saying, okay, trying to catch my breath and see actually what's going on. The blood pouring everywhere. I was standing on the edge of the water, right about down there. The other kid came from over here, and I says to him, if you're gonna stab me, we're both going in the water. I looked, the other kid came from over here around the tree, and I said, well, I guess we're all going in the water. He swung at me with the knife. I went in the water. I moved, I slipped, I fell into the water. A couple of guys from the tents got their attention.
So I ran up there with the shovel and I started saying, fuck your set, fuck say who, fuck you, I'm a fucking Crip, come after me. He was like, you're a blood, come after me. And I got them to turn around and come after me. And I brought them from the river and I just backed up, swung the shovel at them, kept backing up, swinging the shovel at them, backed up, swinging the shovel at them, all the way to the middle of the street. And they both had me cornered in the street. Cohen tried to stab me with the knife and I blocked the knife and I hit him with my shovel. And then he dropped, and Scott looked at Corwin and then looked at me, and I said, come on, let's fucking go. And then Skits and DJ and Pete came to the side and was like, oh, we're over here, why don't you come over here? There's 3 of us, there's only 1 of him, why don't you come over here? So he ran after Skits, punched Skits in the face, and then ran up to Psycho with the knife to her throat. So then I came out of the street and I chased them all the way back.
You know, I didn't think to go back and grab my cell phone to dial 911 or anything like that. There was one car, one lonely-ass car that came down the middle of the road. I said, she's either going to hit me or she's going to stop. So I stood in front of the car and I told her, she's got to call 911. I said, there's a man that just got stabbed. I said, he stabbed him through. Everybody was coming out of their tents, running around. She was all nervous. But I wouldn't move from in front of the car because I didn't want her to drive off. Because you see the movies all the time where they say, yeah, I'll call, and they drive off as soon as you step to the side of the car. So I said, no, I can't move to the side of the car. She called, she did call, she asked where we were. I told her, tell them Tent City on the Crawford Street Bridge. We all proceeded to run after them.
I crawled up the rocks over here and laid there because I heard them coming back. They went by.
And then the cops showed up and told Barbara and DJ to calm down. And they were trying to tell him, we're looking for Roland. She was like, my boyfriend got stabbed. I don't know where he is. And all the cops said was, oh, just calm down, just calm down.
So we're telling them, we're like, there's a man stabbed in the throat somewhere. And you're letting the guys that did it get away. What the hell is wrong? Don't tell us to calm down. So we proceeded just to ignore him and walk towards him and follow them. We wanted to make sure that no matter what, a cop would see them.
But we ended up chasing them all the way down to the river, and the cop got to them before we got to them. And we ended up finding Roland in the river.
So when I came up out of the water over the edge, I ran into Barbara and a rescue. I was like, hold the rescue. Next thing I know, the rescue was there. What in the?
Sterile water.
What in the hell?
Sterile water. What do you think? We weren't prepared? Is that what it was? He's like, no, the fuck they don't.
What's coming out? Oh, Barbara. She did.
John.
Oh, they did not.
What is sticking?
That tape.
No, it's
Ah,
not.
bull crap, I feel it.
That's only the one photo I have. That's what they did. It's looks nice. It's almost here.
Okay.
Instead of staying at my house, I've been down here since Monday night, just sleeping here. I stay awake at night in case anybody comes at night. I let everybody go to sleep. I stay up with the shovel till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I go to sleep till about 9. I get up to help Barbara with everything. But across the way could have stopped it all. 10 City 2, they could have stopped it. All I had to do was call us. It was premeditated though, because they talked about it all day. If you talk about that shit all day, somebody should be smart enough to go, all right, well, let's call them to give them pre-warning that somebody's going to come over here. And instead of them doing that, it just shows that, oh, well, maybe they wanted us to die, because if you think about it, if you're a normal person and somebody's sitting there talking to you, hey, we're going to get drunk, we're getting drunk right now, we're going to go we're going to go kill everybody. A normal person would have called the cops and been like, these dudes just left to go kill everybody. They were on crystal meth, they were on ecstasy, and they were drunk. And they were talking about it all day across the way. They across the way admitted to it. They said that, yeah, they were here drinking. They were talking about killing you guys. We tried to put them in their tent and take the knife away, but they still came over, and they all had our phone numbers. They could have called us and been like, Mike, even though we hate each other, they're coming over there to kill you guys. Everybody was asleep. If it wasn't for Roland being awake, then us three would have got stabbed. And if us three weren't awake, he would have died.
Yeah, I mean, by rights, they should. No, you have no right to beat you up. You know, it says serve and protect on that car. No, we'll talk to Kathy and see what she wants to do. She'll file a complaint for you. They got their own investigators. Darlene was on Elmwood Avenue at a bus stop, and 2 cops came up on her, asked for an ID. They ran her name, told her to get the hell out of there. She said she had to wait for a bus. I guess she had a little bit of an attitude, but it doesn't justify getting beat up about it. Slammed her into the car, threw her on the ground, cuffed her. As you can say, broke her nose, black eye. So I'll go to Para this morning, and we'll file a complaint, brutality complaint against the police. Yeah, she wants me to bring her there. I already called Kathy G.
Are you fine with that?
No, but she won't have anybody else but me. And I feel.
She does the talking.
Yeah, exactly. I mean.
You can't do it for her. You can be there for her, but she talks. Even at the hospital, when I didn't talk to her, she talks. She can talk.
Yeah, John's going to take me to see somebody right now so I can file charges. A policeman did this.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, John took care of me, honey.
As long as he doesn't do it around here.
Can we go soon?
Huh?
Can we go soon?
Yeah. We want to go to Broad Street, right, and file that? I already called Kathy Gay.
Yeah, I know you did. I was waiting.
Thanks.
I wanna
All right,
go
I'll keep an eye on it. Thank you.
I don't feel good.
Do you want to do this another time? You want to go lay down?
No, I need to take pictures while it's fresh or somebody to do something. Unless you want to take them on my camera.
Yeah. Let me take some here anyways.
And then the next clip will take a picture.
Okay.
I got one on here.
I'm going to have you face the sun. What do I click? That middle? Okay, now what do I do?
Save. There's a middle.
Yeah.
It saves. Then it'll go into my pic. Then I have to, I'll show you.
Save my image.
Save.
Okay. Okay, now a side shot.
It's back on, oh, you want another one?
Side shot.
This is the side that's more.
Okay, look straight ahead. All right, another picture straight on of me. Okay, I have nothing with a date on it. She's just pissed off, depressed. Well, she's doesn't know what direction to go in right now. Oh. Either bring her to the hospital or file a complaint with Para. Well, Para can probably wait. I mean, I think she should be at the hospital right now. Woman's prerogative, you know? Maybe I can talk to her. One thing in this world that scares me, women. Not scared of death, prison, anything. Women, whew. Hopefully she slept in, but you know, yesterday was the first. She has that money in her pocket. Right now I can't take her to Para because I got to take 11:15 bus out to Woonsocket for that public forum tonight. And I wanted to get her there because the quicker I can get her in there, the more they can get to internal affairs, they can get the ball moving on it. But iron rule number one, Saul Alinsky says never, never, never do for others what they can do for themselves. And I got to stick by that rule. If I start bending the rules now, I mean, it's just, I lose my face out here. Sucks. I'll give her daughter a call later, say I never met up with her mother. Hopefully she's just slept in.
I overslept because I've been very sleepy since this happened. I have a mild concussion, so I want to do is sleep. But I did find out night before last, Ralph and I was walking and I ran into this girl that said, "What happened to your face?" And I said, "A police officer did this at the bus stop on Elmwood Avenue." She said, "Oh my God, it was you that happened to?" She said, "I seen the whole thing." So she said she would go to court with me. She said she seen the whole thing. She thought it was someone else that had gotten hurt. She didn't know it was me. So I do have a witness finding that had seen it.
using it to transport.
Give me an open space. That's what's coming through. It's gonna take the college kid to show you how to move a wagon. No? I haven't played with a wagon since I was little.
And I rolled a joint of godliness.
Hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Cause I used to do it. That's why I remember from used to do it. She said I ain't gonna be all that. I got kicked out of Tent City because I talked to Chris. DJ got kicked out of Tent City because he's my boy. I think that's stupid. I tried to squash problems that I had with some people over there, and I got kicked out for it. And they basically said that if I talk to other people, they're trying to control like who I talk to and when I can talk. I think that's bullshit.
I think they just, I mean, in the beginning, I think they just wanted us to go away. Just go anywhere, but not here. But then between all the media attention and the fact that a lot of people have come to our, rescue, kind of, they've kind of thought, well, let's work with them. Let's see if we can, get them to agree on a date to leave, and we'll work with them. And I use that term loosely, work with them to find a new place. You have to come up with a plan that people can actually, they can access their services in Providence. A lot of people have connections to Providence. They have to go to food stamps, they have to go to welfare, or they have to see their kids. Their medical appointments are all here. You're gonna stick them out in the middle of the boonies? You can't do that. So it has to be workable. It is a park, and it's not used. But it's not what your park you would think of as, with picnic benches and that sort of thing. But it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Big story tonight, the homeless living in Tent City turned away from a new home. Good evening, I'm Steve Cascione, live in our downtown Providence studios. A deadline has been set for the removal of Providence's Tent City. As a result today, the tenants tried to make the move to another location, but as ABC 6 reporter Tim Martin shows us, that plan hit a roadblock.
The residents of Providence's Tent City packed their things, boarded a rowboat, and set off down the Providence River in the hopes of finding a new place to live.
We have to move, obviously, from this site. The DOT has given us an unofficial deadline of August 3rd.
The reason? The Rhode Island DOT plans to tear down the bridge the tent city is located under next year.
We realize that there are no solutions to this problem, so we've scouted different areas.
Now, residents of the tent city planned on making the move to Collier Point Park, but as you can see, that plan poses some problems.
They told us basically that it's not state-owned, it's privately owned property, that it's owned by Dominion Electric, and that we needed to vacate the premises by tonight because we would be trespassing. We can have tomorrow to pick up the rest of our belongings, but otherwise we would have to have most of our stuff out by tonight. The Providence Police, I guess they were pretty cool about it, but it's just, on the website it said it was state-owned property. And so that's why we're pretty confused why it says on the website it is, but it says the Providence Police say it's privately owned. So now we have to start all over again and start scouting for a new place, figure out what to do.
came down here, we found this location. And again, we were under the impression it was a state park.
But the park isn't, so when police saw the residents moving in, they had to ask them to leave.
I'm really disappointed, really disappointed. We had walked over there to find out what the story was. John was in the front seat of the police car. I'm thinking he's getting arrested.
We're going to take the time we need. At this point, we probably will have to break down because we don't want the officers who have supported us so much to be put in harm's way.
Since Collier Park isn't an option, the Tent City residents will pack up and move out overnight. They'll head back to their original site with the knowledge that time is running out on that location as well.
They're at the back door knocking, and we realize this has to come down.
In Providence, Tim Martin, ABC 6 News.
We threw some people out here as a test case to see what the reaction would be, what the local officials. Again, we're learning as we go. It's best to move on a weekend because the local officials aren't available to react immediately. So basically, this is under the bridge. It's a new bridge, so they can't say it's coming down soon. We've got water on one side, a junkyard, and the back of a technical school. So we're really not going to have an impact. Right now, people set up here initially. They're going to branch out into the other bays and spread out a little bit. Then as new people come in, they'll get other spots. But there's plenty of room here. It's clear ground. It's a lot leveler than what we had. A lot less digging to pitch tents. It works. You know, it's state property that they don't have any use for. It's being a state property. It does give us a little insulation from local officials. It's a jurisdictional thing, and we recognize that. I mean, as I say, we're getting smarter as we go along. We have had some people driving through to see, I guess, to look at us. I mean, that gets awkward after a while. You approach the car to try and be friendly, and they drive off in a cloud of dust. They're curious. They're not sure just what we're about. They see the news reports, they hear state officials, and they wonder just what's going on. And that's understandable, but again, from our standpoint, after a while it becomes almost an invasion of privacy. You feel like an animal in the zoo. Hopefully we can limit that as we get more people in here, and we'll just approach cars as they come in. The administration wants to ignore the problem. They want us to go away because we're visible. But they're not looking at the bigger problem, that there are a lot of homeless and the shelters could never handle them. Right now I'm tired. It's been a long week. And, you know, I'm really looking to some downtime. I hope over the next week or so I'll be able to take some time off and just kick back, read a book, relax. But right now it's day to day as to what's going on. We're not a new breed of animal. We're just people, just like them. Then you've got to come to that realization.
Do here, so we're not really different from Tent City. We just smoke a lot of pot there. We play video game. We got electricity, that's the only difference. Me and my ex-girlfriend Alicia DJ's payee, and we just got an apartment. The landlord thinks it's only DJ here, but there's 3 of us. I kick in my food stamps, Jeremy kicks in his food stamps. I don't know, we lived in a tent. We looked at 4 walls of a tent, and we live in a house, and now we look at 4 walls in a house.
I guess we're not outside though. We don't have to deal with crap like you deal with Tent City. I don't know. It's like the same. We run out of food halfway through the month and we have to go to Tent City to get food.
I seen their showers. You bring a bucket in now and you just that's not cool with me.
Right.
That's why I used to take them to my house. Fuck that.
You're gonna walk in that tent every day and just be pretty much sitting in everybody else's germs.
I know, that's gross.
Pretty much.
They're never gonna clean that tent out.
Nope. I guess it's alright. It's better than living in a tent. I mean, I do waste money on pot every single day, but it's better than being around Rowan and Baba, that's all. I mean, I still don't get no contact with my own family. I mean, still, my real life that's going on right now, I still can't get back to that, even though I'm in an apartment. I get $713 a month, $550 goes towards
Please,
rent.
motherfuckers sleep all fucking day. There's nothing else to do.
Speak for him, I didn't want to go back to sleep, but I do have a roach test today.
Didn't really like too many of the people. That's why I just hung out with Mike and DJ most of the time. It makes it easier to take showers and to cook. And you don't have to deal with a bunch of people that are doing crack and stuff like that. It's better than a tent city because all we do is sit and smoke pot, play video games, so it's all right.
I'm out looking for a job. And I don't know what you can do to not be homeless. I don't know. There's no job, so like I applied for SSI. That's like my best bet. I don't know. The economy sucks in Rhode Island, so like I might move to another state just to get the fuck out of here. I would ideally like to have my own job and a bigger apartment and a car. I would like to be able to drive by a homeless person and be like, here's some money, rather than be the homeless person accepting the money.
That's going to be very difficult to give up. But hopefully the community understands. The bathroom. It's going to be cleaned up a little bit, but I mean, clawfoot tub. What's better than that? That's an antique. It's a lot better than the Porta-John that I've been using. Kennedy Plaza, City Hall. Well, I still enjoy shitting on City Hall every day, Monday through Friday, but water. I mean, a mirror. It's just, this is all good stuff. It's someone been out in the street as long as I have. This is a luxury. Sure, it's going to be cleaned up, a little bit touch here and there, but I won't be here that much. It's just a place to wash up and do what I got to do. It's functional. Even a medicine cabinet. A little bit of paint here and there, a little bit of wash up. I'll have somebody come in and just do the decorating. I'll get an interior designer. Probably Megan, Barbara, people in the community come down and help me out. Be interesting. Be very interesting. Well, I guess the last tenant left me some bowls, some plates, some glasses, running water for a kitchen. That's a good. I wonder if the gun works. The stove. I love to cook. Now I got to get food. I used to tell people I keep a emergency food provider list with me in my bag at all times. Tell people once they get housing where to get food, the food pantries. Now I'm going to have a place to put. I got a pantry. I got to take my own advice. I know how to do it. I tell people to do it. Now I got to do it. That's very strange. It's going to be a difficult transition for me from streets to something like this. I need some cleaning up. I'll make it work.
Stop stereotyping us. I'm not a drug addict. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not some guy who's out there panhandling who wants free stuff from the state or the public or anything. I just want to be left alone and try to get ahead.
Roland Colpitz worked at a warehouse as a supervisor. He lost his job when the company outsourced to China. He slowly lost everything he had. That's why he's living under the former 195 overpass in Providence. But now the states want him and dozens of others living here and under the Washington Bridge in East Providence out.
They came by with like 40 state police and sheriffs. They did not need that.
This is on state property. The individuals are trespassing. It's illegal, and more importantly, it's an issue of public health, welfare, and safety.
On Thursday afternoon, several state agencies handed them notices telling them they can no longer live there. So what are their options? State officials have increased shelter capacities and the number of housing units available.
I am on all the housing waiting list, but those lists are up to 5 years long. And sometimes there's a waiting list to get on the list.
Others here just don't want to go to shelters. They call this place home.
Yeah, I was at home having a cup of tea with Megan, and we got a call stating that they got an eviction notice by the sheriff, Rhode Island sheriff. By the time we got there, the state of Rhode Island and their gracious concern about the tents brought every case manager that they could think of and service providers down there. Wearing orange vests with police presence. Not a good thing right off the rip. Of course, on the way down, I was calling press. Press people showed up. So we prepared a statement that was read by Barbara Khalil. The statement said, basically go fuck yourself. A very good statement. I agreed with telling the state of Rhode Island to go fuck themselves. And which had today to be in court at 11 o'clock in Superior Court on Benefit Street. We proceeded there this morning. We obtained two attorneys by the name of Mr. DeSimone and Mr. Bedford. They graciously took this case. On short notice, the judge let from 11 o'clock until 2 o'clock so the parties involved could sit down and talk. Hope City hashed out a resolution. They agreed to everything the state said. Camp Runamuck at this point, we're going to ask for a formal injunction. That's going to happen next Friday. After that federal injunction, we're going to go and bring it to state injunction. We're bringing it to the federal level, which means, but that's on the hush. That's not out there yet. We are going to go to federal. We are going to bring this to federal court, just like I always said we would. We're going on these constitutional grounds that the shelters aren't safe because they're not. Our ask will always been three. Number one, sustainable, affordable housing. Number two, enforcement of the program assurances to make sure that the shelter systems are safe, well-trained, and clean. The third was case management under the bridges. So as it stands now, we get on a court date Friday. The community voted to get this stay injunction in place. So we're proceeding as planned.
I'm frustrated that they didn't believe anything we said about how we were barred from the shelters and the things that go on in the shelters. And now all of a sudden, because of all the press and the media, they want to do something about it.
On that date? Or
Everything will be going by then.
you have to be...
Yes, the encampment has to be taken down by August 24th, which is, we have no problem with that anyways.
Well, for tonight, you could go back.
Oh, yes. Chop, chop, people. We got stuff to do.
I'm excited that it's gotten into the courts because the legal side of the battle is something that we've been expecting since the end of January. And frankly, I was floored that it took this long for somebody to actually act because, I mean, everyone had been saying, oh, you can't just appropriate public property and, oh, this shouldn't be happening. But nobody was acting. Nobody was making any moves. So the state actually finally had the guts to make the first move. I actually give them credit for that. And I'm glad it's in the courts. And I'm excited to keep it in the courts and to push it into federal jurisdiction because we want the benefits of this to accrue not only on the people at Runamuck, but the people who are homeless throughout the state and throughout the nation. And this gives us a great platform to speak from. I mean, the community has been forced into silence or near silence for so long. To finally have this kind of a voice, it's really exciting, and I think everyone's intending to use it to its fullest.
Court date was the following day. 11 o'clock in this building, Superior Court, which is, that struck me kind of funny. I thought it would always go to district first before I went to Superior. Boom, right off the rip, we're in Superior. I sort of liked it. I know that this case doesn't belong in any Rhode Island courts. This belongs in a federal courthouse. All this research that we've done since last June suggests that the only way you're going to get anything done is to have it done in the federal courts. I think it'll be more unbiased that way. I don't think this judge in this courtroom wants to do the dirty work of this governor. And we got 2 pro bono lawyers, and they seem very competent. It's going to shock this whole state that the homeless community is an organized organization. There's good people in the organization that wants to get that message out there.
My son-in-law, Gary Perry, he came up with the idea, and he said, Willie, he said, you got land in Cumberland. He said, why don't you let them use your land? And my daughter said, yeah, Dad, that's an excellent idea. I said, you know, I said, it is a very good idea, so I just went down and I talked with the people of Hope City. When I first got here, there was some debris here and a lot of bushes and high grass like this here. And I cleared a spot right here where these cement ties are. And I actually made a road. I just pushed the debris aside and made a road going right down to the gate. And this area here would be still off the street. I think they'd probably even go unnoticed here. And maybe if they put up a mailbox, I put up a mailbox there, they wouldn't have too far to go to receive mail, or if they have a porta-john, then they won't have to go too far to pick up whatever they have to pick up from that. And also a dumpster. They won't have to go too far, travel.
I'm speaking for all of our residents in our community. On Monday, August 24th, our lawyer Tiffany Emery, who works for Rhode Island Legal Services, went back before the judge to try to get a stay for the named residents of Hope City, based mostly on the sense that it is shameful that our own state officials would not want to help some homeless people who were wronged by the shelter system in the first place. We were wronged into sleeping outside by getting thrown out, by getting hurt, and the shelter system and service providers not doing anything to protect us or stand up for our rights, which is why we had set up Hope City in the first place. We were helped recently with getting into housing opportunities for everybody here. Them opportunities were only made to us after the first court hearing, which was when we went into agreement. Because we were never trying to be difficult to the state, to the community, to the city, or to anybody else, including ourselves. Had we known about these housing opportunities, because of the fact that we are low-key and we always keep our numbers very small because we have very strict rules to be here. You can't be allowed in the shelter in order to reside in our camp. We were not as big as the other camp, and many service providers neglected to stop it here. Because of that, we would have known, though, that we would have had homes on September 1st, which most of us have already signed contracts to go into. The other people will be signing contracts in the next couple of days to go into their homes on September 1st also.
There are 6 days. Why can't they just give us 6 days? That's just unbelievable. Barbara. Today is moving day. We are packing up our stuff, loading it up. We're waiting for a trailer to get here. We're going to load it up into a trailer.
And then we're gonna take it up to Cumberland, unload it, and set everything up there, and stay there for 6 days until the first of the month when we can move into the apartments. The guy just showed up this morning, and said he was gonna donate. Said he could donate an empty trailer to us that we could use. We could fill it up. He'd come back later on this afternoon, pick it up, and take it up to Cumberland for us. We could unload it, and then he'd pick it up from there. All right. No time to do anything. So I can move it. I'm not just gonna leave it standing here. I just want to put it down on the ground. Watch out so you don't get cut.
It's already cutting me.
How's it already cutting you?
It cut me once already. Remember? Why don't you just let me look at it? It's out.
We're making a pile of trash. This is where the trash is going to be. It's going to be nowhere near what the pile of trashes look like on the other side, though. I don't know if you took pictures of it, but it's not going to look like that. This is going to be one pile, not several different piles. Our initial plans were we were going to clean this whole place up. We didn't want to leave any trash laying around, but it seems how we're being rushed. And we don't have any choice in the matter. We just can't take everything. DOT guy was here, said he had to stop putting up signs that said no trespassing, which is fine with me. It's their land. Let them do what they want. They've already made their decision clear to us that we have to be out of here by noontime. I'm extremely pissed off that the state would not give us an extension of 6 days. 6 lousy days to save us the trouble of moving twice. They let us stay here for 8+ months, and I just don't see the harm in letting us stay an extra 6 days.
This is NBA Live 2009, live from Tent City. On the basketball court, in the hoop, in the hood. What? That's how we do it. That's the last goodbye. Signing off.
I can carry stuff over there.
Oh, so that's why. I thought you did it for us.
I always bring it back to people if they need it.
No, this is true.
You needed it, I would have used it. My insurance company paid for a new one.
Just talking to each other.
Coming back later for
Come help with your big mouth here.
My daughter lives
Can you reach?
My daughter lives in Garland. My daughter lives in Garland. My daughter
Oh, actually, one hand's over here, one hand's on this one.
It's over there. Roll that up.
Oh, this is heavy. Oh, the one only zipped and not the zip open sideways.
We'll today's the beginning of the move to behind Roger Williams Hospital. It's in a wooded area. We have to get people awake. That's number one. And number two, we're getting as many volunteers down here to help with, taking our tents down, bringing all our belongings over to the site, setting up a kitchen, setting up, the necessities, and then, the tents and everything. And then I'm sure we're not going to finish it all in one day. We're going to have to maybe do it tomorrow, maybe even Monday. It was suggested to us by Megan, who knows somebody that could, possibly try to keep this on the hush-hush with the police. And it was told to Megan from someone, and then Megan told me about it. So we gave it a look, and it's not bad. It's city property, which is good. It's not state. It's secluded. We're not really going to impact any neighbors, except there is a couple of houses in the back, but I think that if we put up kind of like a barrier there, we won't be, bothering them, or vice versa.
I don't want to see anybody sleeping outside. Whether I have ideology differences between individuals, I still don't want anybody in the community being hurt, especially sleeping outside. I know. I slept all winter. But with Barbara and Roland, Godspeed. I hope they do the best they can. But what they did was wrong. I don't agree with it. It sort of gave a black eye to the community. To leave Hope City the way they left it, they just left the trash right there. People go by, they see, there's the homeless again. I'm sort of disappointed in what they did with the coalition. Myself, Megan, accusing us of stealing money. That wasn't the case. We got documentation. We have all the receipts. There was $241 spent. $260 was left over. That's documented. It went back to the original church. That check was a personal check in my name in January. Roland and Barbara were staying at Roland's mother's house. Where they get the idea that they were there first, I don't know. This is something myself and Megan set up. We founded that. We were doing the outreach. We were sick of people finding people all over the streets. I didn't see Roland and Barbara out there. That upsets me. If they want glory, go ahead. Take all the glory you want. Just make sure that no one else gets hurt out here. It pisses me off. I'm not out. I don't care who founded what. No one else died in the city of Providence because it was fucking tents up. Point blank. And if people are pissed off because I did it or Megan did it, so be pissed off at me. But no one else died around here. And now I'll go back and I'll fix that cross. The first night I was there, January 24th at 4:30, I erected a cross in Paul Langlos's honor. And I'll go back because it's not there right now. And I'll put a cross under that bridge because that's what it was all about, people dying. If you think this is a political statement, you got it wrong. Cold weather's going to come. It happens in Rhode Island. People are going to die or get hurt out in the streets of this whole country. It's a shame that the richest country in the fucking world, they can't take care of their citizens on one simple thing, shelter. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Am I?
Here we go again, another move, because they don't like us here. It's not like that they have a real, honest to God, good reason. They just don't want us here. And we're moving again. It's tiring. Hello, Don. Long time, no hear, no see. I mean, I know you're out there somewhere. You've sent out your spokespeople to talk for you about those homeless people. You've talked about us, around us, but not to us. Why is that? Our little Camp Run Amok started back in March when we, John, Sandy, Mike, and I, slept at Roger Williams Memorial Park. We stayed there 3 weeks until we were asked to leave because the Preservation Society had a tour at 7 a.m. one day, and we're horrified that homeless people were camping in the area. The Roger Williams plaque states that the area is reserved for people in distress. How ironic is that? So we were kindly asked to leave. John scouted for a new place and found an area on South Water Street. It was an area where we thought we wouldn't bother anyone. Don, we were there for a month before anyone knew we were there. The Providence police happened to find us by accident. I think that tells you a little bit about us. We were quiet and respectful. A few more people wanted to join us. They too were tired of the shelter system and how it does not work. Word of our tent city spread. All we asked people was to be respectful of one another and each other's property. Then one day, one of our residents was assaulted on the street, and our camp was raided by the police. We were told to sit on the hill with our hands on our knees while the police opened and cut our tents open and turned our property upside down. Do you know why, Dawn? Because homeless people have no expectation of privacy. Yes, that is what Lieutenant Ryan said in front of all of us. Let me ask you, Dawn, if a domestic assault happened in your neighborhood, do the police go into all the houses in the neighborhood just to look for something illegal? I don't think so. Is it any wonder why homeless people are scared of the police? They are supposed to protect us, yet we know that they hold our lives in their hands. So, Dawn, our group grew and grew. It's not that we don't want to follow rules, it's because the rules that are in place don't work for the people. The shelter system needs a major overhaul. We need sustainable, affordable housing. We need program assurances. Have you ever stayed in a shelter? Probably not. Let me tell you, it's not pretty or safe or clean. Getting back to our camp, your people and the DOT informed us that we cannot stay at our site. We knew that already, Dawn. Tell me, Dawn, where can we go? The DOT and the state police told us that they would assist us in relocating. But their idea of assisting was to tell us to go to the shelters because the shelters are like accordions. They expand when needed. I've got news for you, Dawn. The accordion has busted. The shelters are busting at the seams right now. So now we move to East Providence, under the Washington Bridge, where lo and behold, the state tells us we can't stay there either. Instead of getting a solution from you, we receive an invitation to court for a restraining order. But, and this is the best part, your solution to all of this is to sleep on the floor at Crossroads or pay $16 a day to camp in Narragansett. If we had $16 a day, we would have an apartment, Dawn. So I lie awake at night wondering, what is our next step? You don't have any solutions. You don't even pretend to care about us. I guess you're not my friend, Dawn. Disgusted and homeless, Barbara Khalil. That's it.
They were here for a few days, and they got their tent set up and everything. And I believe it was Ann Nolan from Crossroads had contacted them and evidently told them, or I'm not sure exactly what was said, but what was told to me was that they were promised housing, or permanent housing. And from what I gather, they ended up sleeping on a cellar floor somewhere, basement floor, with just pillows. And one of the girls said that she was more comfortable in the tent, in a sleeping bag, than on a basement cement floor. I don't think it's going to blow any place anyway, you know?
We moved from Cumberland to the shelter apartments that Croft Road offered. We were there 2 days. We kept asking about furniture and stuff. They kept saying they didn't know when they were going to get it. I asked them if we could move a TV in there. They said, no, you can't move any of your own furniture in there. So, and then me and Barbara got an offer from one of our donators from the tents to come live in their basement apartment. So we took that. We've been living there ever since. Barbara's working. She's got a job. I'm not going to say where. I got a couple of jobs off of Craigslist. I worked for 2 weeks for one guy. I worked for a week for another guy. And I'm going back to work tomorrow for another guy. And a couple of days ago, Mike moved in.
So how is it living with Mike again?
I don't know. I hardly ever see him. Mike thinks he can stay out till 1 in the morning. No, Mike's, he's been coming in early. It's the same. He sleeps in a separate room. So, you know, he's got his own room, we got our own room. It's not bad living there. It's just like living in your own apartment. Hopefully I can, right now I'm trying to, fighting Social Security. It's been almost 2 years. The doctors won't let me go to work legally, so I can't get at one of these legal paying jobs that pay over the table and you get a check every week. So I have to keep taking these daily jobs, weekly jobs where they're paying you cash under the table. If I can get the doctor to sign off on the paper, I'm gonna try to get a real job. But so far, he keeps telling me if I get a real job, he's worried about me hurting myself more because I have to have surgery on my back. So that's the biggest thing for the doctor. For me, I just don't care. I just don't care. I'd rather go back to work, and if I hurt my back more, then that's what happens. I'll worry about that when it happens. But for now, I'm just going to keep working these under-the-table jobs and just keep moving along.
I hope that, like everyone else in the world, I hope that the future is bright for them. All people, for the human race. A human being shouldn't have to suffer like that, sleep outside in the winter.
Just a shame that people are just living out in tents all over the place. It just kills me. In a way, I mean, tents ain't the solution. I don't want to see anybody go through what happened last winter. Don't get comfortable where you're at because I can't see it happening all winter long. It's not just Hope City. It's everywhere.